Hey everybody, it's Jim from Cigars and Other Dude Stuff. Today I'm smoking the Plasencia Reserva Original. And it's a very unique cigar because it's the only cigar in the world, according to Plasencia, that is certified grown from all organic tobacco. And it's all on Plasencia farms. A little bit of background on Plasencia is they really were a third-party grower. They have a lot of farms, a lot of production, but primarily they were making cigars for other brands. But back in 2001, Nestor Plasencia Jr., who graduated from an agricultural college with a passion for making tobacco growing more organic and greener and so forth. And he says, we're going to make the first organic cigar and sell it under the Plasencia brand. And they did that. 2001 was the Plasencia Reserva Organica, which is actually the same cigar as this. Didn't do very well. So fast forward several years later, and we have the Plasencia Reserva Original, which is actually the same cigar. As it stands in the product line, this cigar is actually the budget end of their product line as well. This is a Churchill, and I paid $12.75 for it at a local cigar store. But I've seen catalog prices anywhere from $10 to $12 in 5-packs or in box quantities. Compare that to some of the other Plasencia cigars that go $18 or $20 or even more. I've smoked a couple of these. I got them for a promotion. I don't remember how, and they weren't big, long Churchills like this one. They were pretty much Coronas, but I really enjoyed them. So I thought I'd circle back around to this. But anyway, let me talk a little bit more about this whole minor trend to grow tobacco in a greener way and organically and so forth. There's a really good article that I stumbled on about that topic, and I have the link in the description. So if you want to dig a little bit deeper than my pretty quick discussion here, I would suggest that you read that. I don't want to imply that cigar tobacco growers are dumping, immense amounts of pesticides or anything like that on their product. Cigars are a very natural product, but there is some need for that because the environment is very challenging. You're in a tropical environment and the infrastructure is not very good. And there's a lot of challenges to growing cigars. Tobacco growers are pretty much forced to use pesticides and some non-natural fertilizers in order to grow tobacco successfully. But there's a few growers, as mentioned in that article, that are embracing greener tobacco growing techniques and doing so pretty successfully. Besides Plasencia, Perdomo is one. They are using the drip fertilization technique that Plasencia perfected. CLE is another one. CLE is actually owned by Bayer, a European company, and Bayer is a very green company. And last but not least, Foundation is also doing some of the things that Plasencia is doing. But one of the issues in terms of this being the all-organic, certified all-organic cigar is that certification is really expensive. It's a lot of administration and red tape and stuff like that. And so some of these cigars by these other companies I mentioned might be at least partially organic, but to get certification is a costly process that a lot of companies don't want to go through. Okay, so I'm going to get this thing lit up and smoke it, and I'll tell you what I think of it in a few minutes. I am back smoking this Plasencia Reserva Original. It's kind of weird. It really hasn't happened to me before in the many, many cigars I've smoked, is every time I picked it up to take a puff, it seemed like it had gone out. And I was about ready to relight it. I take a puff and I go, there's nothing there. And I take a second puff and a third puff just to make sure. And all of a sudden the smoke production was back and very copious. It produced a lot of smoke. But it did that over and over again. It stopped a little while around the halfway point and smoked normally. And now I'm down to, I don't know, the last quarter or so. And that is back again. Kind of a strange phenomenon. Taste-wise, I'm not too crazy about it. It was vanilla and nuts primarily, a little bit of cedar thrown in, but again, about a little past the halfway point, it really got a stretch where it was very grassy, almost ammonia type grassy, and not a very pleasant taste. Again, that was for maybe 10% or 15% of the cigar, but it was very unpleasant for a little stretch there. Medium body, definitely not a lot of spice to it. Enough spice to be noticeable, but not really very much. Overall construction was pretty good. I did a number of relights. I didn't even count how many, but it was a number of them because it kind of burned a little bit uneven and rough at times. But I got to say, overall, not a bad cigar, not a great cigar. I'm going to give this, for smoking experience, a 7 out of 10. But if you like a medium body cigar and you can get your hand on one in a sampler or something, I say go for it. It's worth a try, certainly. All right, that's all I got from Cigars and Other Dude Stuff. I will see you next time.